Alright, we should be recording. Yes, we are. It's going medieval still. Key was originally provided by Tinsley PR for the Irregular Corporation. Publisher, Foxy Voxel's the developer. And I am getting to this early. So, as I've talked about in plenty of other videos, I'm recording this Friday, it goes live Saturday. And this is about an hour and a half before AMD's announcements for, oh, that's right, and I want to, oh, it is barley. I heard, okay. Because, like, this is what I need. And isn't that weird? Hang on, hang on. I have to look at this. Okay, it does show that. Wow. Wow, that is... I never have noticed that before. I'm sorry, this is a terrible thing. Holy crap. How has no one noticed this at development, at Foxy Voxel? That the yield is hidden. You have to scroll down to show it. It's like, that's what you're gonna care most about, right? Essentially, look at how wide this is. You could have a second column. Or even better, I would put it up here. I'm dead serious. It should be up here. You should have the carrot seeds here, where it's like, you know, the input on this side. You can't put a line right in here, which I just realized. Oh no, you can see the cursor. You can put the line in here, and then over here is the output. So that way there's no need to scroll. You're not hiding that. Because you're like going through, I'm not noticing the scroll bar. I see this, and it's like, oh, it ends so nicely there. That must be all the information. No, you scroll down. Now I see this, hey. Alright. Because I made that note last week that I need barley, so I have hay going. Oh, boy. Anyway. AMD is having its Gamescom announcement today. At 11, so it's about 9:40 at the moment. Well, at least that's the start of the announcements, and the expectation is for the RX 7700 XT and 7800 XT, so the mid-range. I do kind of wonder, because I know I talked about in recent videos the idea that even mid-range today is actually like 4K capable. I'm like, for rasterization, it's just ray tracing. So it's like, if you ignore the ray tracing, mid-range is awesome. So why are we worrying about the Halo components? That's what I was talking about in other videos. But it did just also occur to me, what is where's the actual performance for like the 7600 and such? Why are you not comfortable? How are you lacking religious capabilities? I got the thing. It's like, it's right there. Oh, no, that's restitution. There's the yoke breath. Oh, yeah, that. Oh, wait, what? There. I didn't even notice that. Oh, crap. Now, which Kalina was this? Okay, it was this one. Ugly apparel. I can't help with that at the moment. Desperately is she drunk? Yeah, apparently. Alright. It is produced. Wait, yeah. She has everything she could want. She's just not using it. Hang on. No, this one. Okay, let's do that. So they can do that. They can do something before going to bed. Anyway. Sorry. I am much better than I was last week. I was sick last week. I'm, like, still recovering, but I'm, like, very close to there. So my voice should actually sound a lot better, but I still need, like, clear my throat times and get some water. So the thing I was asking about before I got distracted again is the 7600 XT. Is that, I mean, it might be low end today, but realistically, would that actually be better than low end? Like, if you were to look at, I'm running an RX 580. It should be a significantly more powerful than that, right? Like, but is it truly a 1080p class card? I'm starting to wonder, is it in actuality like 1440p class card unless you try and turn everything up all the way? Or like you're only using the most intense of games to test out? I don't know. I'm kind of curious now. Or if you're using games that are horrendously optimized, or rather not optimized. But yeah, I do kind of wonder about that now. Anyway, I don't do hardware reviews though, so I can just leave it at wondering. Yeah, so we expect the 7700 and 7800 to be announced. And actually I did see at this point that some of that has leaked, which, hypothetically, because this can only be a hypothetical, I have no special knowledge. Did that really just, yeah, it did just change phase right there. Hypothetically, that, the rumor about, like, the specs and such, that's what I've seen rumors about that already. Believe it or not, that, well, it might not be intentional, but might be tolerated, I guess would be a way to put it, that isn't problematic. Yeah, it might be tolerated because a number is very easy to change. It is. So it's entirely possible that whoever's going to be making the announcement, they, right now, like, we're more than an hour before it will happen, they might not know what the actual MSRP will be of these products, of these two GPUs. They might not know. It might just be it's something we're going to figure out very soon. You know, because all they necessarily have to do is just change what's on the slide, easy, and change what they say in the script. Again, that's easy. So it is possible that this leak, this rumor about what the specs are, might be tolerated because it will allow... where are these chickens? But what does that even mean, a group of chickens has arrived? Hang on. No, overview... Sure. Yeah. Yes. I mean, what the hell, why not? And I got the best chance at them too. There's cattle here? Since when are the cattle here? And by that I mean on the map. I do kind of remember that they are there. Huh. That's actually kind of neat. Because I've not really looked in this very much. He might retaliate. That's okay. Okay, I'm over here. Let me just... Okay, and it'll take everything. That's fine. Including bear? How... Okay. I can have a bear. I actually knew that, but I could put it in there with them. I'm not sure I like that idea. Yeah. So, how did it do that? So yeah, it is possible, what I was saying with the price and stuff, is it is possible that they will adjust what was planned. If it's like, ooh, a lot of people saying at this, it needs to be this price for me to buy, they might be like, alright, then, you know, we can go a little bit, they would have a range. They would have a minimum. That's like, no, we have to keep it above that, and, yeah. And then a maximum where it's like, yeah, you couldn't charge 7900 XT for that price for the 7800 XT. There would be that, but yeah, I mean, it's, you know, in addition to those GPUs, though, we may see FSR 3 formally announced, not just, hey, this is coming, but like, hey, that we're doing this. Yeah, I'm actually gonna do that. Because there are things that need to be taken care of. Okay, you know what? Fine. Fine. We'll... There. I guess I just need to let them sleep. Anyway. Yeah, because FSR 3 has already been announced, but not like, hey, here it is. So, that may be today. We may also have, I can't remember the name, but what was it? Hyper EX? Hyper RX? Which is basically just, you know, it's going to be in the driver where you hit this button and then various things get turned on, like, Radeon Super Resolution, which is basically just FSR being applied driver side. Yeah, I mean, that's what that is. Wait, why are there goats in here? Because they're pets. Yeah. Yeah, I did make some of them pets. Oh good, you can haul stuff. I am using that. Good, put them to work. See? There they go! Isn't that nice? Anyway. And there might be some other stuff too that they will announce. At least with it being Gamescom, it should all be video game relevant. See, there we go. There we go, with the stewardship stuff. And these will need to be... unless I have those turned off. I don't think I do. No, I don't. Such a low. There we go. And pop that down. I think everything, they've taken care of everything. I'm just trying to think. So yeah, FSR 3, the expectation is, well, I think even what AMD has shared already, it should be something with some kind of frame generation, which AMD has had that for video. That if you look up fluid motion, that's like back to the ATI days, even. Who interpolates frames, but you have the advantage in video that you know what the next frame is. This is something that even DLSS's frame generation has, at least initially, struggled with. I don't know how much they've improved it. I still know I'm not going to I would never turn on frame generation if I had an option. But the main thing that will be interesting to see is how much the, how much backwards compatibility there will be. Because obviously with NVIDIA and DLSS, it's everything has to be RTX only, and some of it can only be the newest. But FSR has, FSR 1 and 2 runs on almost anything modern, so that works as a segue into NVIDIA announced DLSS 3.5, which they should be hating themselves for their naming, and I will explain that as soon as I explain what it brings to the table, what its feature is. They're calling it ray reconstruction. I think that that's a false name. Just reading through the blog post and knowing what I know about rendering, I mean, realistically, you can't call any of this stuff reconstruction. I'm sorry, but that's... if you want to call DLSS reconstruction, that means you have to call morphological filtering MLAA, which is quite old and quite hated by a lot of people. It's also reconstruction. It's the same damn thing. DLSS is just doing it differently and in a bit more advanced way. Okay, I'm just like, that's what that is. So, yeah. Wow, I'm getting all kinds of pets. Neat. Hopefully, nothing tries to eat them. The sheep have seemed to be safe, but yeah. Anyway, but from what they describe, and it's also funny because I saw one place talking. Wyatt, hang on. She was moving very slow, so I need to check the time. So where I first actually saw the news on this, it was funny because it's like, okay, whoever was writing this clearly just has no idea of how ray tracing works and should not be the one writing. Because it was talking about how as though the goal is to reach 1 ray per pixel. That every pixel on the screen, you get 1 ray to shot out from the camera to that. It's like, that's the goal, but it's so hard to meet, and this will help. We've had 1 ray per pixel since, like, the start of RTX. Like, legitimately we have. I checked. Metro Exodus, when it launched, there was ray tracing being turned on and ultra. The ultra setting was 1 ray per pixel, okay? So the RTX 20 series has been capable, in theory, of that. I'm pretty sure the performance was crap, but it was technically capable. So clearly, the person who was writing that piece I read, and I'm not going to try to single it out because that's not exactly fair. But it's like, yeah, they have no concept. And as I did put into what I wrote up though, that realistically, and I've seen, it's been a while, but I have seen people going through and demonstrating that, yeah, you start to get a realistic image, a complete image, at like 200, 250 rays per pixel. I'm serious. That's how many rays, that's how many independent sampling rays per pixel you need for it to start appearing realistic. To actually get realism, you're talking like 500, 600, 700, I think even approaching 1,000 rays per pixel. And it was funny, when I was thinking about this, it was like, I don't think we will ever see a consumer graphics card reach that. I don't think we will ever have transistors that can be that fast. I don't think we'll ever have them dense enough to manage it on a GPU unless you have a freaking massive GPU, and I don't think those will ever sell. They'd be too expensive, too power hungry. No, I really don't think we will ever see that, which that may explain also the whole situation with DLSS and such. That it's like, yeah, there is no viability performance-wise for ray tracing long-term. So we're just coming up with these gimmicks to make it viable, which is kind of what I was saying previous week. So I'm already biased towards that idea. Yes, I'm acknowledging it. Why are you hungry? Go and eat. So it's basically just, instead of like trying to do more with the performance we already have, it's, hey, we're going to come up with our own gimmick to push performance. Because like I was saying earlier, mid-range is probably 4K capable of rasterization and not crazy settings. Well, that means then that there's really little reason to buy Halo products except the ray tracing, which realistically you're never going to be able to do complete ray tracing without a denoiser, which is where DLSS 3.5 comes in. See, I am tying this all together, all right? I'm not completely rambling. Not completely. Nearly. I will grant that. Nearly, but not completely. Or at least I'm doing a good job of it. Anyway. So, with the 1 ray per pixel, what that allows, and it's how the one thing that I'd seen, and how even NVIDIA's own blog post about it was written, from my understanding of the technology, is wrong. Okay, that what they were describing is not how it actually works. Because they were talking about, in the NVIDIA thing, basically an adaptive ray tracing. The idea that you're only sending rays where you need to. It's like, no. I mean, that would be adaptive ray tracing, that you're adapting it so that it's only where you need that additional information are you going to bother spending the effort. Which, you know, that's fine. That would make sense to do, but I have no knowledge of anything doing that. I'm sorry, adaptive ray tracing, I'm pretty sure would be advertised. That would be hyped. As, hey, we're only putting rays where we need to, so your performance is even better. RTX adaptive ray tracing. I'm like, that would be talked about. And I've never seen it. So I really don't think that's true. Instead, and this gets into the whole why you need the hundreds. The way I picture it is any point in a game. So you pick any point in space in this camera view. So I'll even pause it to help. There is a sphere around it, just like a unit sphere, one of whatever unit around it, that light is going into and coming out of. When it's on a wall or a flat surface like the ground here, right? There. Like that. Then obviously it's a hemisphere, because you don't, there's no light that's going to be underneath it, right? So what you're concerned with then is the light that goes into it and then bounces out and comes into the camera. So what we're actually seeing. So the light that goes over here we don't really care about. We do, but we don't. And it's also, the way global illumination is actually working is it's reversed. It's actually a ray is sent from the camera to here and then out. But it still is. It bounces here and it may go over here. It may go over here. It may go over here. It might go up and, in this case, hit the moon. Which here, let me actually... There's a reason I'm doing this. There. So it might hit here. It might reflect from here and go to this light source, or to that light source. Or it might hit here, which is not a light source. Or it might hit here, which is not a light source. Oh, yeah, that's dirt. I can't click on. Might hit here, not a light source. So you can end up, when you only have a few rays, let's just say one though, that hits there, there's no light. This is dark. That's why you need the hundreds. So now you are getting some here, but you're also getting some landing here, some landing here. You can't have it be like, oh, I know where the light source is and go immediately there. That's not exactly viable, because, like, how do you know the light source is there? Well, you sampled it. How did you sample it? With a ray. Oh. So that's why you need the hundreds. And that's also why the image can end up being noisy, because you can have this... There. You can have this pixel here that the ray bounces off and goes to this light source. Hey, that's illuminating this. This is now bright. This one, though, the ray hits here and bounces off this one. Well, let's say off the door here. Hey, there's no light there. That's not a light source. I'm going to be dark. So now you've got bright and dark right next to each other. And it might even be that one goes to this light source. So it's light, dark, light, even though these actually should all be the same, because they are right next to each other. And it also, maybe I shouldn't have actually gotten rid of those, but it's also, you know, like, for one frame, the ray for this pixel might have gone here, the next one might have gone over here, so now it's dark again. So it becomes a very noisy image. That's where the denoisers come in, where they're taking the information in one way or another, trying to form the complete image. If you look up the original Quake 2 ray tracing demo, tech demo, you can actually find videos, and there is a setting in it. If you were to actually use it, there's a setting in there to turn off the denoiser, and it's really fascinating to look at. But the denoiser is trying to take that very noisy image and blend, well, and then create the full image. As the NVIDIA blog post talking about DLSS 3.5 explains, it's doing that by spatial or temporal methods. It can also be hand-tuned to try to get the best image out. But they were saying that, yeah, this is expensive, this is slow, this isn't easy, blah, 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 blah. But hey, DLSS 3.5, it makes it better. What's funny is how they describe it working. Which is one of those I looked at and it's like, yes, this is still impressive, but it's not that impressive to me anymore. Because reading it, what it's talking about is the idea that it's, the neural network that they trained for it is actually just deciding based on the information it gets, so it's doing so intelligently, so this still is impressive, just not as much. It's deciding, okay, is it a spatial method I should use to denoise, to interpolate between what we have, or is it a temporal method I should use in which case it's using prior information, essentially then just reprojection. And it's like, should we be doing that? And it's just intelligently going between them, and I hope, because it would make sense, to blend them also. It's like, we can actually try doing both in some cases, if that's what would be the best image, and then we combine those. It's like, that all would make sense to me, from what they were describing there. But it still is, it's like, this is not as impressive as you may think. Because, I mean, it's like, all you're doing is like having it adaptively change the method, the denoising method. Yes, that can make a difference, but is this really a, hey, it's DLSS 3.5? And it is also coming back to the whole, it's a lousy naming. DLSS 3.5, this ray reconstruction that I'm sorry, it's not reconstruction. There's no reconstruction going on here. It's literally adaptive denoising. From what they described in the thing announcing. I didn't look at the video, I will grant that. I just read the thing. It's adaptive denoising. But it's like, it'll work on the RTX 20 and 30 series. DLSS 3 with frame generation is RTX 40 only. So you have a newer technology that has better compatibility than older technology. That itself was without compatibility of its predecessors. DLSS 3 is so stupid. Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, just so stupid. And I will also grant, I know, technically DLSS 3 and frame generation are separate. Which is, again, this is stupid. Because what they should do is just make it DLSS, and then it's DLSS with frame generation, DLSS with adaptive I'm sorry, I don't want to call it reconstruction. I don't want to call DLSS reconstruction. It isn't. It's an advanced morphological method. So if you want to call DLSS reconstruction, you have to call MLAA reconstruction. You have to call SMAA reconstruction. You have to call those other technologies reconstruction. You cannot call... Well, okay, it's either they all are or none of them are. The fact that DLSS is just really advanced at it doesn't change it. It does the same thing. I'm sorry, I'm kind of salty on some of this stuff. But it's like, if they went down to that, because like with AMD and FSR 1, 2, and 3, 1 is spatial, 2 is temporal, 3 is going to be with the frame generation. But it's like, if they come up with this thing, hopefully they won't call it FSR 4 or 3.5. Because technically, I mean, if anything, it should be like FSR RT. That's like FSR specifically for ray tracing. But even then, what they were talking, I don't recall them actually talking about in the NVIDIA blog post, that there's upscaling involved with the technology itself. There's the DLSS upscaling in general that's present. Actually, well, yeah. I'd rather cut these, actually. Okay. Just I don't need them right here since I've got those. But yeah, so it's just... I get it, it's a nice technology. I do also find it very entertaining, very amusing. Just, I can explain that. I've already talked about the point at least, but I can explain more of it. But yeah, it's just like... I don't know, and because I was thinking about that point, it is an interesting technology. I just don't care. But no, the point that I already said, it's like we are at the point where mid-range can be so powerful that a mid-range GPU can satisfy basically should be able to satisfy most any gamer. Not the most extreme of gamers, not those who demand that they can turn everything up to the max, no, but the rest of the world, you can be satisfied there. And I just find it so funny that it's like, well, we have decided that we should start making up effects that are going to be especially hard on the hardware to fit something very hard to do, ray tracing. But it's actually so hard to do, the hardware can't handle it, so we're going to come up with tricks to get the performance we lost, to get back the performance we lost for an image that, I'm sorry, in so many games I turn on and I don't see the benefit. I really don't see the benefit. It's just so stupid. Oh man, but I mean, it's, yeah, just... Going back a bit though, with the adaptive ray tracing, I definitely think that that can be done. I don't think it is being done, but it can be done. Because in theory, all you need, here, let me... If oh wait, no, it had rained. Kinda. Yeah, we got some puddles. Okay. So in theory, how you could do adaptive ray tracing is when you're rasterizing this scene. So you're just sending out, they are rays. They don't bounce. They pierce, but they are rays that you are sending out from the camera. Rasterization is kind of like ray tracing without any bounces. Okay? So we're sending the rays out. And it could land here and be like, hey, this is the ground. It has no reflectivity. Well, it has no albedo. It is reflective because we see it. But no special albedo. Okay, leave it at that. Hey, this has water. This is a puddle. It can reflect light. Therefore, let's shoot a ray so we get, or several rays to figure out what the coloring should be, what the shading should be. You could do that, where you hybridize it. I'm not aware of anything that does it that way, though. Because also, if you did that, I could see that significantly improving performance, because if you look, there's not that much here that would need the rays to be cast, because wood, you wouldn't need ray tracing on that, you wouldn't need ray tracing on the stone here, or the ground for the most part. It's just these puddles, so there would be a significant improvement in efficiency, but it's also, you could tune the amount of rays. You could have that be adaptive as well. So for the RTX 2060, the least powerful RTX card made, that I have about 15 feet of what? Oh wait, no, it's in the test system. It's 3 feet away. I thought it was out. But you could have that maybe being 1 ray per pixel, or half a ray per pixel for these, right? And yes, you can do half ray per pixel, so you can do that and just spread it out. Yeah. But for the RTX 4090, it might be like, hey, we can handle like 4 rays per pixel, so it'll be better. You could do that. That should be absolutely doable, but it is a bit trickier because of the adaptive nature, and you'd need a shader to be able to say, hey, I need to call for rays to be cast. This is doable though. I don't remember if it's DXR 1.1 or 1.2, but one of the newer versions of DXR, in fact, requires that to be compliant. That you needed that for a GPU to be compliant with that standard, a shader needed the ability, and a shader is just like the thing that, it's mini algorithms, mini programs, that determine how, given a certain information, how to color this. So, for example, you see how there's kind of the very crushed pattern of foliage here? Technically, that's a texture. Well, actually, no. Actually, yes, okay, it is a texture here. So is the ground here. But notice how it has to blend? There's a shader that's determining, okay, because, and actually, is it? So grass, you can actually see it down here. Grass is 100%, grass is now 20%. So, and then, well, no more grass is listed. So we'll assume 0%. There's a shader that is taking the values for these spots here, saying 100%, well, 1, 0.2, and 0, and figuring out based on the direction that we're going from this square to this square to this square, figuring out how it's supposed to blend the ground and the foliage texture, the grass texture. That's a shader that would be doing that work, okay? Some of that would also have to be run on the CPU, very likely, because of it's not just graphics. Well, I don't know. You could also have it all being done by the GPU if the shader has this information, and it could. The sampling could have that. This could be telling it, hey, this is ground. Hey, this is grass. Anyway, you would need those shaders then to know that they should send out a array, which, as I was saying, the newest version of DXR, DirectX Ray Tracing, requires that capability. It's been months since I saw that talked about, but I do remember that being there. And the newest version of Ray Tracing in Vulkan has the same requirement. Now, one thing that's kind of funny about it, though, AMD's implementation should actually be better than NVIDIA's at this. Because AMD integrated the... Alright. Oh, that one too. AMD integrated the ray tracing you know, the RT accelerators, I think they were calling instead of RT cores, they actually have them integrated into the shaders, like into the shader unit on the GPU. NVIDIA's RT cores are separate components, so you have to bounce back and forth. Obviously, they figured out how they can do that efficiently in software to satisfy the DXR requirement, but AMD, it was like from the get-go, they would have an easier ability to do that. Yeah, I'm not sure how much anything really takes advantage of that. I would not be surprised if nothing takes advantage of it purely because it's AMD. I'm sorry, I really do think that there is a disinterest in AMD's technologies. For some, at least. Not everything. Not everything. But no, I can believe that certain things like that, developers are just like, nah, NVIDIA's the standard, we'll just go with that. But even then, you have other things. I mean, I'm just thinking about mesh shaders, which AMD actually came up with that concept first. If you look up what primitive shaders and next generation, and I know I've talked about this before, next generation geometry pipeline, which this goes back to the Vega series. If you look at what AMD was talking about then, they were describing what we now know as mesh shaders, which is what NVIDIA came up with and termed it. Aw, man. That's actually not good. Oh, wait, is it just that, though? It might mainly just be the barley. But yeah, cut those. Get rid of that. I don't know if this is a thing. Okay. But it just makes sense to me. Get rid of anything that is blighted. So it doesn't spread. I'm not entirely sure what blight is in reality, but it still just seems like that's an appropriate response. And yeah, so it's like people get to it. You can mishandle it. That's fine. The point is, it needs to be dead. It needs to be gone. And actually, it does look like it's spread there. Because I thought I got all of them. Maybe I didn't. Oh, yeah, it is spreading. It is spreading. So there. Yep, before the blight spreads. Yeah, we'll just do it that way. Wait, what? Okay, I briefly glanced over at the wrong thing. Seriously? Okay. You get to sleep. No one else does. I'm sorry, this is an emergency. It really is. Get up. Okay, no, you're the one that I'm allowing to stay awake. Sorry, stay asleep. You're not. Yeah, there really should be there should be an emergency button, too. I mean, it's... Okay. Okay. I do believe I got it all. Good. So, paste. Alright. Go to bed, guys. We did it. Crap, now I'm trying to think. What else? What was I talking about before the blight came up? I can probably just move. I know I definitely was like rambling with the 3.5 stuff. Oh, no, I was then talking about the different technologies, and yeah, how mesh shading is basically what primitive shaders would talk about as. But it's, even then, it's like, yes, mesh shading support, people care, except it's not used. Same thing with variable rate shading. Although I think people don't care about that quite so much, but it's like, we have these technologies, why are we not using them? Oh wait, it seems to in part be because there's just not much interest in optimization. What was it, Immortals of Avernum? I've not looked too closely, but I've seen some people declaring that apparently it's just terrible optimization or lack of optimization. Which is kind of disappointing, because that did look like it had potential. I know I want it to do well, because it's an it's a game from EA that's solo only, single player only. And it's like, yes, we need to reinforce that that's something we want. Okay, there. Now, what does it take to... Wood and mechanical... How do I make mechanical components? I'm honestly unsure. Yep. Blacksmith. Okay. Blacksmith 4. That's this. Oh, it's right there. How many do these take? Alright. There. 10. At a time. I'm looking at the... Oh, yeah, I can talk about that. Did I not? I don't remember now if I already talked about that or not. Because I wrote the note not too long ago. And I'm at 40 minutes about. Okay. I have a few more things to talk about, but I can get through them quickly, I think. So, since the 900 series, since the GTX 900 series, NVIDIA has been... hang on just... Do that. Stop trying to tame them. I'm sorry, it's just... It's nicer when the pets are... When the animals are, like, animals. I mean, they're nice to have around, but eventually I'm gonna have to slaughter them for food and such, so... Yeah. Actually, yeah, who is hungry? That would be nice to know. If some of them are hungry. Not hungry. Not hungry, not hungry. Yeah, this is not... Animals are hungry. Which one? Okay, I am very confused. Oh, a cat. Okay. Wild pheasant? Hang on. What the heck? I think my control key isn't always working. I'm gonna have to do something about that. Are you gonna eat it or not? It literally hunted a pheasant to not eat it. What are you doing? Wow. It hunted, killed it, and then reset so it left. Fascinating stupidity. Anyway. Wow, these things are going really far away. Anyway, the NVIDIA, since GTX 900 series, NVIDIA has had the VBIOSes really, really locked down. And it's been broken. They've actually managed to break it. Such that 900, 1000, so Pascal and Turing 200, the 20 series, RTX 20 series, it will be possible to just make and flash any BIOS you want to them. For the 30 and 40 series, it's different. That you can swap BIOSes now. So you could take, well, in theory, you could take like a 4090 BIOS and flash on 4080. None of this stuff would I recommend doing. This is like just for modders and extreme overclockers. Although Tech Power Up, they did note that the 4090 originally, the BIOS had a limit of 1.1 volts. Newer ones are shipping with a limit of 1.07 volts, so you could, in theory, flash an older BIOS to get to raise that limit and get some improved performance from that. Then, okay, literally the one that's exhausted is the one that's sleeping. So helpful. Anyway, yeah, no idea what may come of that, really. But it is certainly interesting to see, and, I know I wouldn't mess around with flashing a BIOS, but that's me. Sure, there's gonna be plenty of people that are plenty happy about this. Okay, what is this? This is herbs. Are there, like, none growing? And no seeds, and... Oh, well, the barley got moved. Okay. Yeah, it can do that. What happened to the herbs? I guess it's possible they were eaten, but yeah. I really should be stopping soon, but I should like make a better area for planting. That's a bit better isolated. You know, something kind of like this. Maybe I'll build one over here. Like, you know, just flatten this, make the moat, and just have a massive area that's for this stuff. I don't know. And I just realized something. Hang on. Jobs. There. But this one? No, still. I mean, geez, just look at all of these trees that are just around. Okay. Oh, I forgot to pause that. Hang on. Well, maybe I should actually use it. That actually could be good. But yeah, let's pause these. And also save. I legitimately do need to be stopping soon. I've got a little more to talk about. So, yeah, the VBIOS flashing is going to be possible. Which is just neat. It doesn't matter to me, but it is kind of neat. Atari and PlayOn, was it? I think it was. Have announced the Atari 2600 Plus. Basically, you know, one of those retro console type things. That will come with a cartridge. This is important, actually, with 10 games on there, including Adventure. Yes, for those of you that didn't know, there was, in fact, a game named Adventure. It's an adventure game. It's actually why the genre is named what it is. I know, adventure makes sense as a genre name to begin with, but it is also because of this game. Which, to add to that, because that's not the only instance of something like that I'm aware of. There's also the term one-hit wonder. That's actually, I mean, it sounds great how it's a alliterative one-hit wonder. It makes perfect sense to say that. Yeah, it's also because of a group named the Wonders that had one hit that made it, and that's it. So it's really funny how you do have things like that happen. Anyway, the 2600 Plus will be, I think, did I actually put down the price? Yes, $129, so $130. Coming November 17th. Here's what's really neat about it, though. That, for me, it matters, because I think they're still down in the basement. What did I say? It has a cartridge with 10 games on it. the cartridge slot is actually backwards compatible. We had, it was actually one of the Atari computers, so not the 2600, but it could take the 2600 cartridges. They might still be in the basement. In theory, if I were to get this thing, I could grab those cartridges and put it in and play. In theory. I don't know. I didn't look at the compatibility list. But it's like, it is actually backwards compatible to those. That's pretty awesome. And I did play on that Atari. I never played Adventure, but Pitfall. Sorry, just need to clear my throat a little bit. But Pitfall I can remember playing. Various other things. There was also Ball Blaster? No, that wasn't it. Oh, Missile Command. That actually is one that's that will be on the 10-in-1 cartridge. That I definitely played. I'm trying to remember. There was one, and it might not have been a cartridge. It may have been on a floppy disk, a 5 1/4 floppy disk. But there was one game that it's actually kind of funny because it's a Lucasfilm game. Remember, LucasArts did a number of games like Day of the Tentacles, one that a lot of people know. The Monkey Island games were originally LucasArts. Before the naming, the branding of LucasArts for the video games came about, they did release one game under Lucasfilm. And did actually play it. It was an interesting game, kind of fun. Little interesting, too. I mean, it was an early 3D game, but it's like, I can remember you could just, like, run off the map, too. It was kind of curious that way. Last thing I got, which I know not too many people are going to care about. I care. Cherry has announced a new version, new design for Switches. Now, mechanically, it's the same mechanical. It'll work like the keyboard that I was just saying. I think the control key I need to check on. I can pull this out. I could put in one of those. That's not what they're changing. But they're going to have certain surfaces in it that are diamond polished. They're going to come. These MX2A switches are going to come lubricated. There's some other stuff, but it's also, and this is the thing that I find most interesting, a barrel-shaped spring. The reason they're doing this, and it does make some sense, is that instead of being a cylinder, now when you depress it, there should be less contact between the winds of the spring. So that should reduce scratch and crunching of the spring. So it's like that actually is an interesting development. It will be interesting to see as well if there will be other Switch manufacturers that adopt that. Like Kale, Gatoron, is it JWK? I don't, that sounds right, that's JWK. Texi, and various others. It will be interesting to see if that becomes something new that various places use, or if other places are like, it's not worth the additional cost. I don't know, we'll see, but it's definitely interesting in that Cherry is doing this. I mean, the Cherry MX switches, the patented design there, the patent ran out, and so you see a great many switches referred to as Cherry clones. In many ways, they're not. Yeah, like the novelty cream switches that I've got in the Pi 50 at the moment. I mean, it's a linear switch, but there's various ways it is quite different from a Cherry switch. So I'm not sure how much I'd really call that a clone. The W4s, which is a silent tactile switch. Yes, technically it would fall under Cherry's patent for some of its design, but it's quite different from anything Cherry has. So you do see a lot of variety there, but it is so interesting to me because Cherry is still dominant. Because it's like if you need up to order 1,000 mechanical keyboards, you would go to Cherry. Because that's part of their business. And it just, to see them trying to step up their game there, that's really telling you that there is a lot of interest in different mechanical switches, in custom mechanical keyboards as a whole, but also higher quality, trying to raise that bar. That's the market is no longer just satisfied with the red, brown, and blue, which are named that because of the Cherry red linear switch, the Cherry brown tactile switch, and the Cherry blue clicky switch. It's like it's no longer just that. There's such a demand for others that sound better, that are smoother in action. There's such a desire for that Cherry's having to respond. I think that's really cool. And I would be interested in trying them. I don't know. I did see XDA had a review, which they also include some additional information, so I have a link for that in the Friday write-up. It didn't sound like they cared a lot for them, that they didn't think the improvements were that much, but the guy I look to typically for reviews of Switches, he goes by Theremin Goat. And I did see he shared pictures that he did get boxes of them to review. He just hasn't, his last review was actually on the 6th, so it's been a bit. But I don't doubt that he will have those. And yeah, his writing can be a little rambling, in my opinion. Like, it would be nice if he could focus down. We don't need so much history, or it'd be nice if he did multi-page like I can do with my reviews to better organize. But it's still, I do like looking at his reviews, and I will look at them for that. And I do recommend, if you are looking into different Switches, his list isn't exhaustive. Like, I don't think he wrote a review of the W4s. He has collected some data on them, but I don't think there's a formal review for them. I could be wrong on that, but it's still, he's done a whole bunch. He's very thorough and quite respected. But also, just look in general. There's plenty of other places. I've done some Switch reviews. It's been a while. I've kind of run out of space for them. That's legitimately part of the reason why I stopped, is I ran out of space to to keep all the Switches I got. I have a little bit more since I built the Pi 50, but now it's like, well, I'm running out of space because of the keyboards. It could be worse. Could be worse. All right, but yeah, so that will be interesting to see. And hey, I got about half an hour to kill now before the start of AMD's thing, and I don't know how long that's going to be. I don't know when when I'll be able to start the write-up on that stuff. I'm just thinking, are there any predictions I want to make? I don't remember the pricing for the current AMD stack. So yeah, I do believe 7700 and 7800 will be announced. Hopefully they're, 7800 needs to come in below the 4070. I think by a decent amount, like more than 50. 50 would be the minimum, I think, is what I'd want to see there. And I'm just pulling this out of nowhere. I just feel, it's just a feeling I have. The 7700 needs to come in under the 4060 Ti, I think, for where I'm expecting that performance to be. And for just the importance of mid-range and how badly priced I really do think that the whole 4060 series is. Why there's $100 gaps between all three, I don't know. Between the two 4060s and the 4060 Ti, I don't know. I was like, that's such an opening for AMD. They need to take advantage of that. They need to. I do think FSR 3 will be announced, and some details given. I don't know. Well, Starfield is actually supposed to be game with it, I think. And hey, technically I'll get a copy of that when I get my new laptop. I don't know. I'm not sure how interested I am in Starfield, I'll be honest, but I may play it just to experiment. And since I would have a copy too. I'm just trying to think, will they do any future stuff though? Like, will they announce or tease a refresh to the 7000 series? Will they tease anything about the 8000 series? It would be poor form to get too specific with an 8000 series since you're just announcing the rest of the product stack for 7000. It would look bad. But I could see them teasing potentially the whole multi-chip stuff, which supposedly that's not coming in 8000. But it's still, maybe they could do something there. If it is a nice, light tease. Not something where it's like, oh yeah, we can expect this in 6 months. No, just this is something we're working on, this is some stuff. But yeah. They could announce a refresh to the 7000 series if they describe the 7700 and 7800 as already possessing some of the qualities of the refresh. which would explain why they've taken so long. I could see them doing that, but I kind of doubt. Again, it would seem like poor form since you're only now finishing out the product stack. But if they were to do that, though, and this is one thing that it would be good, in my opinion, if they were to do that, that would give them a reason, a pressure to lower the prices. Because if they can also announce a 7950 XT, a 7950 XTX, those should occupy the spaces that the 7900 XT and XTX are at. Because currently those, I'm pretty sure you can buy it below MSRP. So it's like, make the current price the new MSRP, put those in, put these refreshers in at the original MSRPs. So you have this downward pressure then that should help drive the 7800 XT and 7700 XT lower. That would be nice if they would do that. I don't think that they will, though. It would just seem poor form. So I really have no predictions, really, aside from what we already know what they should be doing. The 2 GPU announcements in FSR 3 just make sense. It would be surprising if they don't. It would be more surprising for them not to announce that formally and like, hey, it's coming. Then, like, it would be more surprising if they fail to do that than if they do it. That's where that is. And I don't know about anything else. I really don't. I don't have a guess. I do know I need to get this... Excuse me. I need to get this processing, so, yeah. See you next time.